At first, it seemed like just another night at the Frost house. Kirk and Rasheeda, known for their entrepreneurial spirit, had been working hard to balance their marriage with their busy careers. They were both trying to manage their personal and professional lives while navigating the flashy world of reality TV. But beneath the surface, rumors were growing about Rasheeda's unhappiness and questions about Kirk's loyalty. Kirk and Rasheeda Buckner Frost had a big impact on their fans. Their relationship had been filled with drama, love, betrayal, and ambition as they made their way through the worlds of hip-hop and reality TV. But recently, their once-invited relationship turned into a controversial news story. Sadly, this was no longer just entertainment, it was real life. As the evening went on, what started as a conversation about normal home issues quickly escalated into a heated argument. Voices were raised and profanity flew. Neighbors were worried about the noise and called 911 to report a domestic disturbance. When the police arrived at the Frost home, the tension was palpable. After a quick assessment of the situation, the officers moved in. After talking to both sides, the police decided to arrest her. Rash was upset, her eyes red and swollen from crying. The news shocked and scared many people who had followed the couple's journey on social media. Fans had to come to terms with the fact that the person they admired was now involved in something serious. Rasheeda stirred things up with a powerful Instagram post. "I never imagined I'd face this. I deserve respect and protection." As the story unfolded, it became clear that her outburst was more than just anger. It pointed to deeper issues in their relationship that had been building for years. A photo she shared showed both her vulnerability and strength. In the days that followed, people in the entertainment world speculated about how reality TV fame could strain private lives, creating a mix of emotions waiting for the right moment to explode. The pressure to maintain a perfect image while facing personal struggles could lead to a volatile situation. Although opinions were divided, some fans came together to support Rasheeda, urging her to prioritize her safety. Others showed support for Kirk, asking for sympathy and understanding, pointing out the hardships the couple had faced. Meanwhile, some criticized the visible tension both online and in real life, seeking help for the situation. Rasheeda turned to her close friends and family for support as she struggled to understand and heal. She reflected on the romantic holidays she and Kirk had shared, realizing that many of them had been tainted by moments of betrayal and disappointment. Looking back on their marriage, she saw both the good and the bad. While the camera often portrayed their life in simple terms, the reality was much more complicated. Kirk, on the other hand, had to face the consequences of his actions, the state of his marriage, and the legal fallout from his mistakes as his court date approached. As he prepared for the hearing, he expressed his pain and confusion, saying, "I love Rasheeda, and I want to make things right." But the path to reconciliation was far from clear. There were doubts about whether Kirk would take full responsibility for what had happened and whether Rasheeda would choose to stay with him. As the court day neared, the drama escalated, and it felt like something straight out of a reality show. Rasheeda was focused on her children and her own well-being, and her close friends said she was carefully considering her options, even imagining life without Kirk. Their story ended with a cautionary reminder about the complexities of love, loyalty, and human relationships. While the future was uncertain, Kirk's life continued in his luxurious studio. He stood by the polished countertop, reflecting on everything that had brought him to this point. Kirk was about to share a shocking truth that had rocked the entertainment world. His face showed a mix of anger and disbelief as the weight of his revelation hung in the air. Rasheeda, his former partner and ex-wife, had been charged with stealing $9 million from their joint companies. This wasn't just gossip. It was a reality he had been struggling with for far too long. Speaking softly, but with emotion, Kirk explained how he had discovered she had been secretly taking their money. The betrayal felt especially hurtful since he had trusted her. The once collaborative and creative spirit at their studio had turned into a battleground. He felt a deep sense of regret and nostalgia for their earlier days when they had worked together to build a brand that later expanded into fashion and lifestyle. They had created a successful music business empire, and Kirk believed their success was based on mutual respect and hard work. But as the company grew, so did the challenges. Kirk thought early financial issues were simply mismanagement or mistakes. However, things started to feel off, and he began to notice small but troubling changes in their finances. It was as if he were watching everything slowly fall apart. When he discovered records of transfers that didn't make sense, he became more suspicious. Things got worse when he decided to hire a forensic accountant to investigate. The report was a punch to the gut, it revealed the full extent of the theft. Kirk couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal as he thought about Rasheeda's actions. He barely spoke, only managing to whisper how painful it was to see the troubling statistics. Disagreements on business matters were one thing, but what had happened here felt like theft. As Kirk waited for results, his anxiety grew day by day. His heart raced and his mood darkened as he looked over the report that showed everything had been wrong. He remembered when the accountant handed it to him, an image of broken trust and dashed hopes. The public was fascinated by the couple's stormy past, filled with love, passion, and conflict. Social media exploded with the hashtag #AskRasheeda trend, leaving both Kirk and Rasheeda's fans in shock and disbelief. "I gave everything to build our company. Finding out the person I trusted most was a fraud feels like a nightmare I can't escape," Kirk thought. As the tension built, Kirk reflected on their past, remembering the good and bad moments they had shared. "I never imagined it would end like this. It feels like I'm losing not just a business partner, but a close friend," he said. Rasheeda said nothing, which only fueled rumors. Sitting in the studio surrounded by remnants of their past dreams, Kirk's anger boiled over. "I want answers. She needs to tell me why she did this and how she thought she could get away with it. We built this together." Money wasn't the main focus for Kirk. He was determined to reclaim what had been taken from him. He began exploring his legal options, feeling it was necessary to step in, especially since the issue went beyond money. It was about honesty and respect. "I've worked too hard to build this empire, and I won't let it be taken from me," he said. Kirk started planning his next move and sought legal advice. This discovery was sure to have serious effects on both their personal and professional lives, and it could even lead to legal consequences. The way Kirk handled this would affect his relationships with his supporters. By exposing Rasheeda's alleged betrayal, Kirk set the stage for a story that would grab everyone's attention. Beneath their glamorous appearances, Rasheeda was dealing with a tangled mess of emotions: hurt, betrayal, and the painful question of how love had turned so bitter. Kirk used this knowledge to empower himself, giving him a new sense of purpose. "I owe it to myself and to our legacy to see this through," he said. Despite criticism and reassurances from friends and supporters, he was firm in his decision not to back down. He understood that ultimately, responsibility would shape the outcome of this battle. Kirk knew a storm was coming and he needed to prepare. The conflict between love and betrayal was bound to take unexpected turns, leaving viewers eager to see how this dramatic chapter would unfold. One thing was clear: despite the uncertainty ahead, Kirk could feel the weight of betrayal and anger growing stronger with each step. As he walked across the dimly lit living room, Rasheeda's words echoed in his mind, leaving him barely able to speak. "You really did it," he muttered hoarsely. "You cheated on me." Rasheeda, standing with her arms crossed and a defiant look on her face, shot back, "You think you're the only one who ever has fun, Kirk? I came here to point out faults, not to take the blame." A mix of anger and confusion stirred in his chest. "Did you really? Did you actually do it?" he asked. "I guess I should just move on and let it go." Rasheeda moved closer, an unsettling gleam in her eyes. "You had your late nights and secret conversations. Do you think I'd just forget that?" Kirk's frustration grew. "I thought we were building something real," he muttered, his voice full of bitterness. "Well, welcome to the truth," Rasheeda responded coldly. Her breathing quickened as she spoke to the club. "It's not about revenge," she said, her voice wavering. "It's about defending myself." Her tone faltered, just enough to show the pain behind her anger. "This is too much for me to handle." He ran his hand through his hair, feeling crushed by the betrayal. "Now you have a reason to justify yourself. You thought cheating back would solve everything." His voice softened, trying to stay calm. "I thought you'd change. Why didn't you just talk to me? Why didn't you challenge me on my actions?" "I never wanted that," she replied, realizing the spark in her eyes was fading. "I thought we were in this together." Kirk's face softened as he spoke. "Honestly, I couldn't wait for you to decide. You made me feel worthless. Are you saying I was the one lying?" She looked away, eyes filling with tears as her words sank in. "I felt invisible to you. Every time I tried to communicate, it was like hitting a brick wall. I thought I had no other choice." Kirk took a deep breath. "I didn't realize that by keeping things light, I was trying to protect you. Telling lies so we could keep going." He took another step forward, his anger hiding the vulnerability inside him. She quickly responded, but her voice was gentler this time, filled with unspoken truths. "Lies can't make a relationship stronger," she said softly. "I'm sorry. I was wrong to think I could manage everything on my own. I never meant to upset you." Her apology was sincere, but there was still uncertainty in the air. She paused, then asked, her voice barely audible, "What is it that you want now?" There was a sense of calm, but also a quiet desperation, as if she was trying to understand what he truly needed from her. The moment hung in the air, full of unsaid words. His anger had not completely vanished, but it was clear now that he was more aware of his own weakness, the weight his emotions had taken control. Her question lingered, almost as though she were searching for an answer that could change everything. "I don't want to fight anymore," he finally admitted, his voice trembling with the weight of his own frustration. I don't know what to do now." It was a rare moment of honesty from him, and it felt like a turning point, even if neither of them knew how things would unfold. Her eyes softened as she listened, her heart a mix of understanding and uncertainty. She could tell that something had shifted, but the path forward was unclear. The tension was still there, but now it felt like they were both standing on the edge of something new. The silence between them was thick, filled with the possibility of what could come next.